Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are taking our very first look at the new Tier 8 British battleship, the Temeraire. That's the best I've got. Now, that being said, I am going to refer to this thing as the Van Conk. And honestly, I don't even know if that's an apt description because this thing is an older design than the Vanguard. Because if you look at the Vanguard's hull, God, the loading time. This is on a Series X. Look how long it took to load that. But yeah, look at the hull here. See how it's got the nice upswept bow. It's a fast battleship. Everything looks nice and modern. This is not that. This is a much older looking design, and to top it all off, still has a catapult fighter in the middle of the ship. So you know it's an old design, because that went away relatively early on, I want to say World War II, because that was a stupid design, and turns out having flammable shit around the center of your ship is a bad idea on the deck, you know. So that's why they went to catapults being back at the back. So, you know, if you do end up getting a hit or a crash or something where you have a fire, it's contained to the rear of the ship and not right in the middle of all of the, you know, vital parts of the ship. But, you know, whatever. Anyway, with that being said, let's look at our commander. We're running Azure Lane Nelson with Azure Lane Scharnhorst and Paolo de Revel as our inspirations. We are running Flammable Cannoneer. We are running Big 7. We are running Marksmanship. And we are running Master Mechanic, which gives us 2 extra repair parties. We also have the Fight Fire with Fire perk, and this is going to come in handy. Now, I run the Flammable Cannoneer perk as well as Fight Fire with Fire on this class because I want them to set 3 fires. I want them to trigger those damage controls, and you're going to see that come into play in the match. So, let's look at the loadout. We are running Aiming Systems Mod 1. We are running Steering Gears Mod 2. We are running Concealment System Mod. And we are running Main Battery Mod 3. Okay? We are fully upgraded. So there's that. We are running the Italian Unity flag. And we are running the St. Paddy's Day camo as a permanent camo for this thing because I thought it looked good in green. I don't know. But we are also running a booster flag to get that extra range on this ship. Now, if I take that off, you guys will be able to see the actual range, which I believe is 18.4. But we'll go over it here in a second. So, survivability, 67,900 hit points. Just like the Conqueror, it's on the lower side, but it doesn't actually equate to what it is because you have 4 super heals. Yeah. This is a miniature Conqueror. Okay? A mini Conk. A Van Conk. We have 25% torpedo damage reduction. We have the 419mm 45 caliber Mark II guns on this thing. That is a module that you can put on, by the way. If you go over here, wrong, this one, you can see we have, actually, that's not it. It's these ones. This is the module. So you put this module on, you get the 419mm guns. Okay? Keep that in mind. Anyway, they are in a 3x3 configuration instead of a 3x4 configuration like the Conqueror. They reach out to 18.4 kilometers with this build, though if you go with the booster, that goes up to 18.9 kilometers. They reload in 25 seconds, which is good. 180-degree turn time is 51.7 seconds because of the Big 7 perk. That would be slightly better if it wasn't for that. You could get this down if you wanted to. Honestly, it wouldn't be a bad idea to try to get your 180-degree turn time down, but I'm so used to it on Conqueror and such that it just doesn't bother me. I'm generally able to maneuver around decently. HE shell maximum damage 9688 with a 48% chance to set fires. AP shell maximum damage of 17,493. Secondaries, you get 134mm 50 caliber Mark 1s. You get 16 of those, 8 per side of the ship. They reach out 5.2 kilometers. They reload in 6.7 seconds with a maximum HE shell damage of 1900 and an 8% chance to set fires. AA defense, you have 20mm Oerlikon Mark 5s. You get 20 of those, doing 61 damage per second, but they only reach out to 2 kilometers. Then you have the 40mm Bofors Mark 2 that you get 8 of, doing 32 damage per second, reaching out to, you know, a paltry 3.5 kilometers. Then you have the 40mm Bofors Mark 6s that you have 60 of, doing 292 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. That's pretty nasty, I'm not gonna lie. Now, obviously, those are in a they're in a 10 by 6. You have 10 mounts with 6 guns each. Okay, so keep that in mind. So that's why I said that you have 60 of them. There's 60 barrels. Okay, 134 millimeter 50 caliber Mark 1 dual purpose secondaries. You get 16 of those, doing 68 damage per second, reaching out to 5.2 kilometers. So you do have decent AA, but the problem is the majority of your AA is mid to short range. And I would say just short range in particular. Anything under 4 kilometers I would consider short range AA. So keep that in mind. You're not going to be shooting anything down until it gets right on top of you. Okay, maneuverability, maximum speed is 29.5 knots, so not bad. Not quite as good as Vanguard, but not bad. 830 meter turning circles, not bad as well. Rudder shifts okay at 13.5 seconds. It's pretty decent for a battleship, but not amazing. And then the concealment, we are running the concealment system mod, so we get a 13.2 kilometer surface detectability. That is about the same as the Kansas, I believe. So it's solid for a battleship, but not overly amazing, but it does help you disengage, and we're going to show some of that in this fight as well. Detectability by air is 11.3, guaranteed is always 2, and the detectability while firing in smoke is 14.7 kilometers. Let's look at the armor of this thing. You have a 25 millimeter bow, as expected, or not 25, 32 millimeter bow, I'm sorry, just misspoke. 32 millimeter bow, as most battleships do. No icebreaker or anything like that, so Yamis are going to be able to just shove straight through the bow on you, so got to be careful there. Also, any high-tier cruisers HE is going to slap. Other battleships HE is going to slap, so got to be careful. You know it's there. You know what your weakness is. You do have decent torpedo protection in terms of 260 millimeter lower belt, and I believe it's 300 something. That's the wrong one. 280 millimeters, right? No, 381 millimeters. Okay, so 381 millimeter upper belt, meaning if you angle well, you're going to be able to deflect pretty much everything. You do have a 32 millimeter upper side plating there as well, so Yami can still overmatch that, but everything else you can angle well against, and you're going to be okay. Okay. Your Citadel is the Vanguard Citadel, which means you go broadside, you're going to get blapped. Okay. You're going to take Citadels if you go broadside. It's slightly raised above the water. Any turns are going to exacerbate this, and it is a decently sized Citadel. It's not actually that big of a Citadel, but given the fact that the ship actually isn't that long of a ship, it is a pretty sizable Citadel, so keep that in mind. And like I said, the biggest issue is that it is a raised Citadel, and any maneuvers that you make are only going to make that problem worse. So any penetrations that do get through are just going to be devastating, especially if you get caught broadside. Just like the Vanguard, expect to get punished if you're broadside. Okay? Overview. Superior HE penetration, above average HE shell penetration. The greater heal. Repair party restores severe damage. And powerful AA defenses. Again, it's got a lot of AA, but it doesn't kick in until the last possible second. Meaning, most carriers are going to get their ordnance away before you start shooting their planes down. So keep that in mind. This is a Lion-class battleship, which was developed and laid down before the beginning of World War II, but never to be finished. Her main armament was designed to contain 9 406mm guns arranged evenly along 3 turrets. The anti-air arrangement was envisioned as a range of multi-purpose and flak guns from the 1940s. She was designed in 1938, and it says that she was laid down. She was just never finished. So, yeah, I was correct. It is an older design. So there's that, pre-World War II. So, I'm not an idiot. Well, okay, yeah, I am. But let's take a look at this thing. Obviously, she's in lime green. I actually like this camo on this ship for some reason. I can't explain it either. I don't normally like this camo on any ship, but it just kind of looks good on this ship for some reason. Maybe it's all of the flat sides like that you get on this ship. But it's overall, it's an older design. It's not the most appealing ship in the world. But gameplay-wise, she's pretty strong. She's pretty spicy. She is literally a mini Conqueror, okay? Don't get it twisted. She's a mini Conqueror. And because you don't have that extra turret at the back, you only have one turret back here, you're not going broadside as often as most people do in the Conqueror, meaning you tend to be better angled in most situations, leading to a better survivability. Or maybe I'm wrong. Let me know what you guys think. But with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we're going to be on Warrior's Path, and I have a game that I can only describe as the perfect game to illustrate the strengths, the weaknesses, and the absolute absurdity that is British HE slinging, super heal carrying battleships, such as Temeraire. I apologize. I always feel like I'm saying that incorrectly. I probably am. Y'all know the deal. I mean the Van Conk. Or the Mon Conk. It's more of a Van Conk. Definitely has the Vanguard Citadel. Even if it does more resemble an older design. Anyway, we're going to leave that where it is. Now, we are going to spawn on the right side. We've got a battleship with us and a destroyer with us, which means we should be pretty well suited to take on any threat that's on this side of the map. It'd be nice if we had a cruiser with us instead of a second battleship, but I digress. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to being able to see the enemy and shoot the enemy, and you know the deal. You can always count on your teammates. That's a joke. You can't count on your teammates, ever. You have to assume that your team is going to be bad. And, you've got to play accordingly. So, what I'm about to show you is a perfect example of expecting teammates to actually be useful, and then they turn around and try to be as useless as possible. Now, I'm not saying that the Z-23 has been as useless as possible. He actually does some really good things early in this match. However, this man does not understand that he has guns attached to his destroyer. You'll see what I mean in a moment. So right off the bat, Z-23 runs straight up, has a Fletcher that is spotted by our carrier. Our carrier spotting a Fletcher. We get 6 hits and 2 fires, and we're up to 18,000 damage on the Flounder. Wow! You'll love to see it. Now here, I would love to get another shot on Flounder, but unfortunately our planes have left the area. He's no longer spotted, and so knocking out his damage control this early, I'm not going to get to set him on fire again. Not anytime soon. Now, we do have HE loaded, so we're going to try to use auto-aim, pre-fire the corner. This guy's not going to see these coming until it's too late, and we're going to get a very good result on him as well, getting a double fire and another 9,000 damage on him. Now, the good news is that fire's burning pretty well. He's turned away. We have AP loading for our next salvo because cruiser, and he's broadside, he's trying to get away. So I'm looking forward to this next shot. I'm like, oh, we're going to use the spotter plane. We got this on lock. Unfortunately, I did not anticipate him turning towards the island to dodge my shells. So he actually dodges pretty well there. That's on me. Should have anticipated the turn away. The guy is definitely paying attention. And here I am going to make the dumb play that nobody should ever freaking make. I always tell people don't do this, and I still do it occasionally. I get double fired here. I know that there's a freaking Fletcher out here. And I know that when I turn this corner, there's a good chance that I'm going to walk right into a goddamn wall of skill. And of course, in true Spartan fashion, I've got to do exactly what I know I shouldn't do, because reasons. I need to get my guns to shoot at this Flounder and things and stuff. And sure enough, torpedo wall of skill inbound. We take 2 of them on the belt. Of course, it causes a perma-flood. And then immediately we get set on a perma-fire to go with that perma-flood. And I'm like, well, we're screwed. This is GG. I f***ed up, and this game's over. And that's what I would think. But remember how I said that we have that skill, what is it called? Fight fire with fire? Now this is a situation where the enemy needs to recognize I am on 2 fires, I have a flood going, they need to stop shooting me with AG. But they don't. Instead, they keep shooting me with HE, and then they get a triple fire on me. What happens when you're triple fire and you got fire with fire? It triggers a damage con, which gets rid of my perma-flood and my fires. And that is all I needed in order to absolutely take over this match. Now look at the health. I have 19,000 hit points left. But look at that heal potential. That is what makes these British battleships with super heals so incredibly powerful. Because all we have to do is disengage. We're about to get a damage con. As soon as we do, we're going to be able to disengage. We don't need to fire our guns again. As soon as we take the hit, we're going to go ahead and disengage. That's going to allow us to disappear once this Fletcher goes away. Any moment. Fletcher. I can't remember if the Fletcher smokes up or what. But we're going to take... Oh, that's right. We take a shot at the Fletcher here. Look at this. Wait for it. Pow! Destroying torpedo tubes, knocking out a torpedo tube, taking over half his hit points, and we have a destroyer that could potentially help us, and yeah, no, it's not gonna happen. Now here you can see we're down to 6,400 hit points. I'm dodging as best I can. We're down to 4,500 hit points. We don't get a heal back for 20 seconds, but Fletcher manages to turn away from us, which gets outside of our detection range and leaves us alive. Now notice our destroyer here. He's still full health. Remember, Z-23 is a very healthy ship. I think its stock comes with like 20,000 hit points or something like that. It's ridiculous. But we're able to disengage because the Fletcher took a hit and got away. So that allows us to disengage. We get our heal, and the next time that these mofos see us, we're going to be very healthy. And that is the danger of leaving one of these British battleships alive. Now, we take a shot here with the rear guns, and of course, he runs into the island, so those shells tracked his movement and unfortunately go into the island instead of staying where I actually aimed it. It's one of the unfortunate sides of the auto-aim in this game. It isn't that I auto-aimed and shot at the guy. I shot at his actual ship, but because of the way the auto-aim works in this game, because he was moving forward when I took the shot, him hitting the island, the shells were still following his ship instead of landing where I actually aimed them. And then I fire again, and those shells land both short and long, avoiding his ship again. So me trying to get a goddamn permafire on this man is just not working out in my favor. And here, not gonna lie, thought I was gonna take a nasty hit here. Fortunately for me, he aimed way too long. Now, Fletcher comes back out, we take another shot at him, and this is where I talk about this guy forgets that he has guns attached to his ship. He's within 4 kilometers of a Fletcher who has less than 5,000 hit points. That's 2 shots. And he waits until he's already, like, I don't know why he took so long to take the first shot. There's no reason for that. Just shoot the man. You have 20,000 hit points to his 5. I think you'll win that fight 9 times out of 10. Okay? Fire. But unfortunately, doesn't manage to do it. So now we've got to pay attention to that. We do have the Flounder coming around the island, so we're going to go ahead and line up a shot on him over the top of the island. He comes around and, come on, Spartan, be a good hit. Be a good hit. There it is. We get a permafire finally. That's going to be okay. And he's turning away from us, so we'll try to see if we can't hit him again here before we get behind the island. Come on, get the guns loaded! Now, the one thing I will say is these guns reload nicely. 25 seconds for a battleship at high tiers, especially with these, would be 17-inch guns, are pretty nice. It is nice to have. But he goes further down the road. He gets his damage con off. We get another shot on the way, and unfortunately, I don't think we actually hit him with this last shot. Our front guns went into the island. The rear guns didn't quite hit him, I don't think. But you can see I'm lining up another shot here, and I take the shot right as a Friesland manages to land a shot. I have no idea where the Friesland is or how he managed to kill the guy. But he's dead. That's all that matters. I'm guessing Friesland must be the guy that's in the cap for the enemies. Now, Fletcher gets spotted again, and then again, this is a situation where there's nobody else here. It is literally Fletcher versus a guy who has 15, well, at this point, he's probably got like 12,000 hit points because he's just sitting here taking a beating from a Fletcher. But I'm like, okay, well, in true Thanos fashion, I'll do it myself. I already took all this man's hit points. This guy in the Z has done nothing to this man. Well, there, he finally hit him. Or maybe that was somebody else hitting him. But we take a shot, we finish him off. Goodbye, Fletcher. Get the fuck out of here. There's a little payback. Feels pretty good, not gonna lie. And then we've got Musashi and everybody pushing into our cap. We've already doubled back. Now, this is the difference between me and the battleship. The other battleship player that was on my side does not have the ability to pay attention to the map and see what the enemy is doing. Their whole team is at our base. We had to go back. And this guy just kept sailing straight. And this is a perfect example of people just not paying attention to the minimap. Now here, I take a shot at the Musashi, and he had just started turning his guns towards me as I do so. And fortunately for me, he only gets 1 hit. Of course, it's a Citadel. Like I said, this thing has a raised Citadel, so it's like a guarantee, just like Vanguard. If you get caught broadside, it's gonna be Citadel territory. But we fortunately survived. We've got 1 heal left in the tank, and it's not much. We're not going to be able to heal much out of it, but at least it'll be something. We get a shot at the Massachusetts. We get a fire on the Massachusetts. A decent hit. Not a lot of damage, but he's going to damage con that. We have the Bismarck pushing into the cap as well. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can't hit him. The Massachusetts put out a single fire, so we're keeping that in mind. I think I'm going to take a shot at the Bismarck here while we're waiting for the damage con to come off cooldown, and then I switch back over. I'm like, okay, damage con, hopefully you'll be down on cooldown by the time these shells get to the Massachusetts. We take the shot, and lo and behold, I was correct. We managed to get the perma-fire on the Massachusetts. Bismarck takes a shot at us and in true German battleship fashion manages to completely bracket my ship and not land a single shell. The Bismarck's a good ship, though, I hear. Somebody says so. A lot of people say so. I'm not one of them. But we take the shot at the broadside of the Bismarck here, trying to keep him. He's the one that's actually in the cap at the moment. I guess the Massachusetts is as well. But this guy's the healthier one, as well as the fact we have a destroyer in range trying to burn down the Massachusetts. So focusing the guy that's charging our carrier and is the healthier opponent seems like the right play here. And so we're going to try to line him up. Now, this is where having a little bit more experience in the ship would have come in handy. I know the Conqueror relatively well, but I kind of forget that these shells tend to float. The British have really, like, loopy shells. They've got firing arcs that aren't the highest firing arc in the world, but they tend to take a lot longer than you'd think to get to the target. So, didn't lead him enough there, and unfortunately, he's going to go down here. We take the shot. We were expecting him to die, I'll be honest. I didn't want to take the shot. Figured he would die to those torpedoes. I think it's a Saipan on our side, so I thought maybe those torps would kill him. But fortunately for us, we get the shot off just in time. We get our high caliber, and we get to steal the kill off of the enemy of the game, or at the end of the match, and we got our Dreadnought as well. So ended up picking up a pretty solid game and showcasing the strengths, the weakness, and the absolute ability to stay in the fight if you let them. The Temeraire is a solid ship. It is a mini Conqueror. If you haven't got a chance to play the Conqueror, this is a good, solid substitute at Tier 8. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.